Hi, everybody. Bill here from the Sports Insanity Network, and welcome to another edition of Murphy's View. Well, today I'm here to discuss episode 2 of The Captain. You want to know more about episode 1? Go watch my video on episode 1. So, for those of you who missed episode 1, The Captain is the 7-part series about Derek Jeter, the captain of the Yankees. So, in this episode, this covers from 1996 to 1998. So it starts the beginning of the episode starts after the Yankees lost in the 1995 postseason, and big changes are coming to the New York Yankees, such as Buck Showalter as manager has been fired, Don Mattingly has retired, Gene Michaels is no longer GM, is replaced with Bob Watson, and in coming to replace Buck Showalter, the one and only Joe Torre. So, and a lot of things are going on in this new regime that's coming up, such as Joe Torre really wasn't the first choice to be manager of the Yankees. When he was picked, they actually had the headline Clueless Joe, as in he didn't know what they were doing. And during spring training, Jeter was getting off to a pretty rough start, and George Steinbrenner's advisors, one of them said, "We cannot win with this kid Jeter. We can't win with him." And there was talk that, get this, there was talk that they wanted to send Jeter down to AAA and trade for Felix Fermini from Seattle. But you know who they wanted to trade? They wanted to trade Mariano Rivera to Seattle for Felix Fermini. In the words of Joel Sherman, who was the New York Post sports writer, he said, Mariano to Seattle, Jeter to AAA, no dynasty. And he's right. Can you picture if that happened? If Derek Jeter went to Seattle? I'm sorry. If Mariano Rivera went to Seattle, Jeter went to AAA. Can you see that happening, folks? It's like one of those alternative history things. So, in the last week of spring training of 1996, Tony Fernandez, shortstop of the Yankees, breaks his arm. So, they're stuck with Jeter. They're stuck with Derek Jeter. And then it shows on opening day 1996 in Cleveland, Derek gets a home run, makes some great plays in the field, and then it shows that year that he was getting ready to be the superstar that he is. Like, the Yankees were getting ready to be New York's team again. Because in this time, if you remember from my last episode, the from 1982 to 1995 was a very dark period for the Yankees. They sucked. But this was the beginning of what I would like to call another Yankees golden age, or you know what? The Yankee Renaissance. Because 1996, we all know, Yankees just have a great season. They end up win the division, then go to the postseason, and of course, game one of the 1996 American League Championship Series, the kid Jeffrey Mayer interfering with Jeter's home run, but it wasn't interference, they called it. And then the tie in that game, and the Yankees won the series, and then to the World Series against the extremely dominant Atlanta Braves. Yankees are down 2 games to none. They go win three in Atlanta and come back, and then they go back to the Bronx and win it and win that series, giving them their first World Series title since 1978, in which Derek Jeter was Rookie of the Year that season. So anyway, and that is sort of the building of Derek Jeter becoming the face of the franchise. Like one young woman said, every girl in high school had a picture of Derek Jeter in their locker, and saw women hold up signs saying, "Marry me, Derek." So this was the beginning of him becoming that, again, that face of the franchise. And that really and then it shows a little bit of the 1997 season when they unfortunately lost, but then it goes to the 1998 season, which the best season in franchise history, which in total that year they won 125 games combined in regular season and postseason, including a sweep of the San Diego Padres in the 1998 World Series. So the Yankees are now on a roll in this time. And that team, and I want to bring up a point that was in the first episode, but I didn't really touch upon it, but it really ties everything together. As I said, there was a time when George Steinbrenner resigned from ownership of the Yankees because of a scandal. If you want more detail, go watch my comments on the first episode. And then Gene Michael ended up basically taking over operations. And Gene Gene Michael's strategy of how to build teams was different than Steinbrenner's. Gene Michael was the one who, or the ones that got Derek, Jeter, Bernie Williams, Andy Pettitte, Mariano Rivera, and was making a homegrown team. While George Steinbrenner just wanted to get players from other teams. So that really ties into here that they really were a homegrown team. That team, from 1996, 1998, 1999, 2000, 2009, those were that was a homegrown team. Like they all came up together, and that's what you got. And also what I liked about this episode is that they kind of talked about Jeter's character too when he got up to New York, and after the World Series win, he actually started getting buddy buddy with P Diddy or Puff Daddy, whatever he was called back then. Um, yeah, I think it was Puff Daddy. I could be wrong, because he became good friends with him and his manager Mike. Well, I don't think it was okay. I don't think Puff Daddy was Mike. I don't think Mike Evans was Puff Daddy's manager. I think they were just friends. But Mike Evans and Jeter and Puff Daddy were all good friends. And and they would talk about how he used to go out in the 1990s New York clubbing scene, and it was the 90s. Derek was young and single, and they talk about how they went to clubs. And I like how Mike Evans said, "You just got to the Big Apple, but don't take big bites. Take small bites. Don't choke on the apple." As in, don't get too caught up in the limelight. And it brought up a conversation that Darryl Strawberry had with Derek Jeter and said, "Hey, listen, don't get don't get your head wrapped around and all that because I made those mistakes. If you need somebody to talk to, come talk to me." And that really shows you what type of person Jeter is. And like, listen, he went out and partied, and again, he was young and single. Like, it's not like he was doing anything wrong. But there was a story they told that he was going up to meet up with Puff Daddy. That Mike Evans called Derek Jeter and said, "Hey, there's actually we're going to the club tonight. Puff Daddy is bringing Jennifer Lopez, aka now the new Mrs. Ben Affleck." But that aside, go, "Hey, why don't you come?" And Derek goes, "I got to get up early. I got a game tomorrow." And it turns out there was actually a shooting at that club that night. And Derek Jeter said, every time somebody tries to get friends with me, I ask, what do they want? And that is a good mentality to have because not all the time, like you got to build a certain level of trust with people, but I don't blame him, because you don't want to get in with the wrong people. And, they were all saying, keep your circle tight, keep your circle tight. And that really shows you what type of person he was. Like again, he was getting into the nightlife and having fun, but he had that balance and he had that discipline. And another thing they touched upon very briefly is they touched upon his friendship with A Rod, of how they met each other, and how there was a Sports Illustrated cover of it said shortstop, and it had Derek Jeter with his arm around A Rod, and then sort of a little bit of a competition between them, even though they were really good friends. I don't know what their relationship is like now. I think at one point they got into a little spat, but then they squashed that. But but because it was a competition between Jeter and Aaron and also Noma in that '90s thing, they only touched upon it really briefly. Some were saying that Aaron was a better player than Jeter. Beg to differ, but yeah. And also one more thing. I like this because this is actually very relevant now, how we just had the whole thing with Aaron Judge and his arbitration. Near the end of the 1998 season and the beginning of the 1999 season, Jeter wanted $5 million. The Yankees said, "We'll give you 3.5," and it went to arbitration, and it ruled in Jeter's favor. And you know what? And you could sit here saying, "Oh, Derek Jeter's being a greedy bastard. He wants more money." But you know what? He said something pretty cool. He said, "Whoever I prove wrong, whoever I'm going to prove wrong, I'll prove someone wrong else the next day." And it's like that attitude I told you back in the first episode. He has that basically, you tell me you can't, I'll tell you I can. And that really carries into it. Again, I'm really enjoying this series so far. We're only 2 episodes, we got 5 more to go. But I really like how he has the attitude, how they're showing how he carries himself on and off the field so far. We're in, like I said, we just finished that 1996 to 1998. I think the next episode is going to probably be the 1999-2000 World Series. We'll just wait and see after that. If you like what you see, and why wouldn't you? Because this content is absolutely amazing. Go to www.thesportsinsanitynetwork.com. Check out our blogs, our bios. Check out our podcasts such as 19 Hole, Wishbone Shotgun, Throwdown, Breakaway Bandits, The Face Turn, and of course, the one that started it all, the Sports Insanity Podcast. And also here on our YouTube channel, like, comment, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thank you for watching, folks. I'm Bill Murphy from Murphy's View. Hope you enjoyed. Stay safe and take care.